I'm on the bicycle path. I'm glad I had a light. This thing it's mulberry. It needs to be trimmed. Uh, you know, like that's right in your face. Look at this. That's right in my face. This needs to be cut. Okay? That's Freedom Parkway. There's Moreland Avenue down there. Seminole down there on the left. Ah, shit. I hate it when a car comes. That's Seminole down there. Where's the street light? There they are. Alright, got stuff oriented. And there's a Seminole cutoff.
Canal Street Station, the suspect fled off the train.
Today's deadly shooting happened just 1 month after 10 people were killed on another New York City subway train. 500,000
man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine. Iraq, too. Anyway.
What's to come, I suppose, but to me, this seems like something someone far more nefarious would do, especially since the publisher was Politico, not Fox News or the Wall Street Journal. Listen to what Senator Ted Cruz told Brian Kilmeade of Fox about the consequence of the leak.
What we saw with this leak from the Supreme Court, it's the culmination of a multi-year campaign by the Democrats to politicize the courts, to politicize the justice system, to weaponize it, to attack the Supreme Court. You opened the show by showing the rioting both with regard to this leaked opinion and also the entire year of Black Lives Matter and Antifa riots. The left is bound and determined to tear down the institutions of our country, to destroy the Senate, where they want to end the filibuster and blow it all up, or to destroy the Supreme Court. You know, Chuck Schumer stood on the steps of the Supreme Court, called out two justices by name, and he said, if you don't vote the way I want, you will reap the whirlwind. He threatened them. And we have seen this. Look, it is difficult to overstate how destructive it is to the Supreme Court, to the independence of the judiciary, to the integrity of the court, to have a draft opinion leaked during the process of deciding the case. In over 200 years of our nation's history, that has never happened, and there was one woke little left-wing twit who decided to hell with his or her obligations to the justice they work for, to hell with their obligations to the court, to hell with their obligations to the rule of law, that they would instead try to sneak it out in order to put political pressure on the justices and intimidate them into changing their votes. It is shameful, and look, I'm glad that Whoopi is back on TV after having to step off for a while for her anti-Semitic comments, but you know, maybe she should recognize that destroying the Supreme Court and the rule of law, that's not nothing. That actually is what protects our liberty in this country, but today's left doesn't believe in individual liberty.
And when it comes to narrowing down whom the leaker could be, Cruz also has some ideas.
I think we have a very good chance of finding out who it is. If you look at the court, it's actually a very limited universe of people who it could be. The only people that have access to the opinions are the 9 justices and their law clerks. Each justice has 4 clerks, so that's 36 law clerks, and there are a handful of clerical assistants and secretaries who might have it. I think the chances are 0 that it is a justice. I cannot believe any justice would be part to such a grave betrayal of the institution. I think it is a law clerk, and I think it is very likely a law clerk for one of the 3 liberal justices. That means there are 12 likely suspects. And listen, the fact that we have someone willing to be unethical and break the law does not mean that we've got a master criminal at the court. I think they're going to have left a paper trail. They're going to be emails or texts with the reporters. we're going to find this person, and when they're found, they're going to be fired off on the spot. They will be disbarred if they're members of the bar, or they will never be admitted to the bar to be a lawyer. And to the extent they've broken criminal laws, they need to be prosecuted and sent to jail.
Now, remember,
It was a tough Sunday morning for the congregation at Connections at Metropolitan UNC. The first since Reverend Marita Harrell's murder.
If ever we needed the Lord before, we sure do need him now.
Police say 27-year-old Christopher Griggs stabbed Reverend Harrell at his home on Panola Road before burning his van with her body inside.
Today we are here to worship the Lord and remember the pastor of this fine church.
There's a lot of things that are going on in my mind. We'll miss Reverend Harrelson.
Parishioners we spoke to are still in a state of shock.
She's doing God's work, and I'm just dumbfounded for words right now.
Police say the Reverend was trying to help Griggs when he attacked. He has a long criminal history, which includes sexual assault and impersonating a police officer. He had an active warrant out for his arrest, and police say he should have never been out free. This Sunday service, in the middle of this tragedy, the community says their faith is in God's hands.
There's something about worship that transcends our existential situation, that help us to rise above all that we're going through.
On Saturday,
what's to come, I suppose, but to me, this seems like something someone far more nefarious would do, especially since the publisher was Politico, not Fox News or the Wall Street Journal. Listen to what Senator Ted Cruz told Brian Kilmeade of Fox about the consequence of the leak.
What we saw with this leak from the Supreme Court, it's the culmination of a multi-year campaign by the Democrats to politicize the courts, to politicize the justice system, to weaponize it, to attack the Supreme Court. You opened the show by showing the rioting both with regard to this leaked opinion and also the entire year of Black Lives Matter and Antifa riots. The left is bound and determined to tear down the institutions of our country, to destroy the Senate, where they want to end the filibuster and blow it all up, or to destroy the Supreme Court. You know, Chuck Schumer stood on the steps of the Supreme Court, called
9668. Again, Smyrna police want to speak with them. Anyone with information should contact Smyrna authorities. Atlanta rapper Young Thug is back in court tomorrow. The 30-year-old recording artist, whose real name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams, is expected to appear before a judge to enter a plea in the RICO indictment. Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis handed it down earlier this month. Fox 5's Joy Dukes has a preview on that. Good evening, Joy.
Good evening, Alex. Yeah, Williams is facing gang and drug charges in that RICO indictment that names 27 other people, including his label mate Gunna, whose real name is Sergio Kitchens. Both Williams and Kitchens remain in custody as they await the next steps in the legal process.
We are going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law.
Upcoming performances for rappers Young Thug and Gunna have been canceled as a result of charges filed and a judge's denial of bond for either of the two in the ongoing RICO case against almost 30 members of their group, YSL.
It is our allegation that they operated as a criminal street gang.
Young Thug, also known as Jeffrey Williams, is expected to go before a judge Monday at 9 a.m. He'll enter a plea in response to charges of participation in criminal street activity and conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act.
Crimes of violence, crimes of thefts, crimes involving drugs.
A statement from Williams' attorney said he vehemently denies any and all of the allegations lodged against him. Days after his arrest, a judge denied Williams' bond, citing the indictment.
The most important thing that we are here to do is to keep this community safe, and we believe removing these 28 defendants will keep Fulton County safer.
While his plea...
where the baby is actually born alive. That is what most states, not California, have tried to prevent. Alito's reasoning is not based on public opinion. He's merely interpreting the powers that the Constitution provides and enumerates. Due process does not apply, he argues. Now, if you want a non-legal interpretation of Roe v. Wade, listen to this scholarly approach.
Look, think what Roe says. Roe says what all basic mainstream religions have historically concluded that the existence of a human life and being is a question. Is it at the moment of conception? Is it 6 months? Is it 6 weeks? Is it quickening like Aquinas argued? I mean, so the idea that we're going to make a judgment that is going to say that no one can make the judgment to choose to abort a child based on a decision by the Supreme Court, I think goes way overboard.
To target cities across eastern Ukraine as the death toll here mounts. In Bakhmut, a town in the Donbas region, a Russian airstrike destroyed a university building. In recent days, Russia has launched strikes, often killing or injuring civilians. One elderly man recalls the strike this weekend.
I don't know. There was an explosion. Here it landed. There. That is where the crater is. It blew all of this out. The wall was gone. I cannot close the doors anymore.
Here in the Kharkiv region, Russian troops are shelling the northern part of the city. Incoming and outgoing fire is heard throughout the day. Russian troops have been pushed back slightly from Kharkiv, and we did get a look at some of those Russian positions destroyed by Ukrainian forces. As Russian forces advanced on Kharkiv, they set up different positions in tree lines outside of the city. Though Ukrainian artillery units targeted these tanks and military vehicles, in the distance you can still hear fierce battles raging on, the Ukrainians trying to defend their second largest city. As the conflict continues, Russian officials have banned hundreds of Americans from entering their country. Among the list included in these new sanctions, U.S. President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, Hunter Biden, Hillary Clinton, and Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg. The move was in response to heavy Western sanctions that are disrupting the Russian economy in the wake of the invasion into Ukraine. Tonight, fierce battles are raging on the outskirts of Ukraine's second largest city, with both incoming and outgoing artillery fire. In Kharkiv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Of Operation Fly Formula. Last week, President Biden invoked the Defense Production Act to ease the nationwide formula shortage. The delivery cannot come quickly enough for parents, many of whom have run out of solutions to feed their children.
It would take approximately 2 weeks for the normal commercial process to work. As a result of the United States military's involvement, we're going to get this here in a matter of days. And a matter of days means a lot to the moms and dads who are worried.
President Biden also announced today that a second transport flight of baby formula will happen in the coming days. In Atlanta, some companies are leaving customers wrongly, thinking they qualify. Fox 5 IT reporter Randy Travis has part 2 of his investigation.
You feel like you're taking advantage of it?
Yeah. Lied to. I hate a liar.
Charles Schwab lives by himself in this cluttered corner of Haralson County, happily puttering around on his various projects. The latest is solar. It's not one of his favorites.
It feels like you got taken to the cleaners.
He signed up with Solar Titan USA, spending more than $71,000 because he thought it would reduce his power bill by as much as 90%. Charles says that never happened, and neither has the other big promise. So you were counting on that tax credit to help make this affordable?
Yeah, like paid off in 7 years. Now it's like a 20-year ball and chain.
The federal government has tried to make solar more affordable. These companies will promise that you can get back 26% of the sales price as a federal tax credit. And that's true. But there's an important fact that they did not make clear to some of their customers or us. That's Amy and Nathan Tatra's house in Lafayette, where they agreed to pay Power Home Solar more than $90,000. They said the salesman promised they'd get that full tax credit, more than $23,000, to lower the cost.
They're wrong. My husband is a disabled veteran. We don't have tax liability.
They know I was a disabled veteran.
Did they ask you whether you had any taxable income?
No, none whatsoever.
Both did sign contracts that warn the tax credit is not guaranteed. Amy and Nathan's had it on page 7. The warning is on page 8 of a 27-page packet that Charles got. They all insist it was never clearly explained. If they told you that you did not qualify for the 26%, would you have bought this?
Absolutely not.
That's all we're trying to do is get you to own your power.
When we invited Power Home Solar to give us a price for solar on this house, the salesman blew past any tax credit warnings.
Now, the only qualification you need is to pay federal taxes. You pay federal income tax?
On disability.
You still file taxes at the end of the year?
Yes.
They take federal income tax out of you?
Yes.
Okay, so you qualify. That's all that matters.
It's not all that matters. In order to keep a low monthly payment, companies like Power Home Solar require you turn over the entire tax credit to the finance company within the first 18 months.
The system itself is 69999. After your tax credit, it's going to be about 51. The tax credit's 18,200.
But remember, you can only qualify for that full credit if you pay that much in federal taxes that year.
Because they don't explain it accurately. They're just telling you that it's a guarantee, something that you're going to get.
Power Home Solar says it fired our salesman, and because of other complaints across the country, is now putting new systems in place to monitor sales staff and make sure they're telling customers the truth. The company, now called Pink Energy, will also extend the cancellation period from 3 days to 7. And it agreed to remove the Tetros system for free, cancel their contract, and refund any payments they've already made.
My tax, I said that's only if you owe. That comes off your tax bill.
Charles is still stuck with his $71,000 system. A spokesman for Solar Titan USA wrote, "We are not tax experts and cannot make claims to who does and does not qualify." The company believes there are enough warnings in their contract and the one from the finance company to protect their customers, even if the sales pitch was far too sunny. In Haralson County, Randy Travis.
They have to bring out their vintage motorcycles, but they also have to be dressed in their Sunday best. One person who attended said it was his first time participating in such a unique cause.
I'm all about health, physicality, taking care of the body, being in great health. So yeah, that's what it's all about.
Well, so far, the event has helped raise more than $45,000 for men's health initiatives throughout the country. But Justin, I bet it was hot out there in those suits and on the motorcycles.
All I'm saying is there was an event for distinguished gentlemen, and Jonathan and I weren't invited. I want to know what's up with that. All right.
Of 3.6% means the race could come down to voter turnout. Insider Advantage CEO and founder Matt Towery says Kemp continues to lead the race, but the contest is closer than recent polls have suggested. The poll also put South Georgia educator Candace Taylor at 6%, Catherine Davis at 1%, and 3% of the voters surveyed undecided. Towery believes the Tuesday turnout will determine whether the race will go to a runoff. The Secretary of State's office reports 820,000 people cast their ballots already. That's more than double the number of votes cast during the same period in 2018. More than 400,000 Republicans voted early. A key aspect of the race has been former President Donald Trump's endorsement of Perdue over Kemp, who he has consistently blasted for his handling of the 2020 election in Georgia. Governor Kemp refused the then president's demands to call a special session of the Georgia legislature to overturn the results of Mr. Trump losing to Democrat Joe Biden. Former President Trump has continued to claim that illegal votes in Georgia cost him the state, but several lawsuits filed by Trump supporters have been dismissed. For Kemp, an outright win would be vindication after months of attacks from the former president. Analysts say Trump is pulling back support from Perdue in the final days of the election. Trump is not expected in person to rally votes ahead of Tuesday. The former president, though, will host a tele-rally tomorrow night at 7. His last visit to Georgia was in March in Commerce. Former Vice President Mike Pence will visit Georgia in person tomorrow to campaign for Governor Kemp. That rally is at 6 at the Cobb County Airport.